Hello, welcome back to Führerreich. So we've done a couple of, well, I did some things behind the scenes where I tried to change a couple of things. I tried to get a cool mod that changes the way these division theater, or the theater icons look, to have a bunch of more variety and have a clear sort of, I guess, order of battle, to actually set up like a clear and very visible organizational structure so that it's easier for the viewers to know like where everything is, where the armies are, and so on and so forth. Of course, that fucking failed because it turns out none of those good mods are, at least, the good ones at least, are updated, which means that if you change them right now, it also deletes this stuff. So that these are invisible, which means you can't even click on them, which means you can't also reorganize your fleets effectively. You have to like manually click on them out here, and I don't like that. The only other alternative that I see... Actually, no, that isn't even an alternative, because that mod doesn't work with this mod, but it's the MPU NATO division icons, which I use in my Führerreich series. Those don't work either, because it doesn't work with this mod, the Führerreich mod, sadly. The MPU division icons mod, I believe, has been updated specifically for Führerreich as well, though, so... for now, we'll just rough it out with vanilla, but if you have suggestions for how to fix this, I'm happy to listen to them. Oh, also, these guys are on NATO division icons. Honestly, we don't even need that. I like that, but I recognize that some people don't, so we're gonna do vanilla for the series for the most part. Let me know if you want me to change that, but yeah, that's how it is. So, someone in the comments, I'm gonna unpause by the way, someone in the comments did mention they wanted to, wanted me to sort of talk a little bit about the Valkist ideology. Now, I don't think there's actually a place in game to like fully and clearly see the Valkist ideology. However, oh, there's Adolf Hitler. However, we can sort of extrapolate based on what's in the game already and what we've heard so far. Also, I did have a look at the wiki and the TV tropes page for Führerreich, and so, what it boils down to, I believe, Valkism obviously is the alternate history analogy to National Socialism, the NSDAP's Nazi program and whatnot. But it is different in the sense that it lacks the NSDAP's perceived, well, like their imagined racial science, so like the obviously pseudoscience, but the scientific sort of view on race that they had. And peaceful end at midnight. Oh yeah, George V is dead, which means that we get a very young-looking Edward VIII. But yeah, it lacks that, but instead it has this cultural supremacy thing going on, which the mod wiki does describe Valkism as non-racist, but cultural supremacy in and of itself is a form of racism because it builds on the like judging of others' ethnicity from obviously your perspective, like an ethnocentrist view, and the idea that one culture is superior to another, and the idea that one ethnicity, because ethnicity is culture and all that, is superior to another, at least in ethnicity is culture, at least in the modern interpretation. That in itself fits the bill for the definitions of racism, at least most of them. Unless you specifically narrow down racism to skin color, which is a bit reductive. So I think Valkism is racist, even though a lot of people say, or a lot of the sources say no. I think that's a misunderstanding of the term. Also, Valkism, I think, is inspired or somehow rooted in stuff like Otto Strasser's like early Nazi stuff. One of the men who I believe was killed during the Night of the Long Nights, Night of the Long Knives, an event you can do in vanilla Hoi4. A purge, which, I mean, we are essentially doing the exact same thing right now. However, that might have been his brother, is Otto Strasser or Gregor Strasser. But anyways, that man had an ideology which rejected the racial superiority thing. Yet it also was anti-Semitic, and most of Europe was at the time. But so it too was racist, even though the man himself claimed it wasn't. He also held a view of cultural supremacy and stuff, and also held the idea that Europe must sort of must fix itself in order to retain its high level of culture and civilization, which is like an absurd notion. The idea that people have fucking tech trees for their culture, like some like civilization game or something. But yeah, the Valkist ideology, other than that, is built on, I believe, lifting up the lower and middle class, and also on, I believe, anti-capitalism, like fascism in a sense was as well. So it's just like absurd, slight skewing of Nazism that also wishes, I guess. One more thing, actually, important to note. There are places like the wiki and the TV tropes page where it does say that it's more liberal than a Nazi ideology. It is, in a sense, because it does not have the same very narrow like gender roles that were present in most fascist ideologies. In this one, in Valkism, women do have equal rights, I believe. Oh yeah, purge democratic sympathizers or purge ambitious army officials. Well, why not both? One purges Goering, which I believe can maybe prevent him. Oh, there's Strasser actually, which can Otto Strasser. There you go. Which can prevent him from. Yeah, this is the Nazbol, I guess, path, National Bolshevist path. But so if we purge Goering, I'm guessing that can prevent him from trying a coup or something, which could be funny if he tries that. That would be interesting. Kurt von Schleicher is who is he? He is former Chancellor. Yep. Because of his treason and refusal to work with us, that has caused the divide and a rift within our government. So basically, we have to choose a scapegoat. Herbert von Bose, thorn in our side as part of the cabinet of Franz von Papen. He has many times taken oppositional, that needs to be rewritten, and treasonous actions towards us. His plan in 1934 to try and get von Hindenburg to turn against us laughably failed, and his plan of getting Reichswehr to mobilize against the TST, Thule-Schutzgruppe, or no wait, TST is something else. I don't know. Also never came to fruition. He must no longer be allowed to work against us. Wait, TST is the Thule-Schutzgruppe, yeah. Truppe, not Gruppe. That's why. That's why I was confused. Thule-Schutztruppe, I need to change that then on one of my units. But yeah, so I think we're gonna go with this one, just because this stuff does some bad shit to our army for a while, and I'm not quite sure how early a war can start in this mod, so even though we are like the revanchist nation, the nation that was beaten, so usually that means that in Hearthstone 4, that means that we are the ones to start a war if one starts. I have seen other stuff happen, though, in Kaiserreich, but Kaiserreich is an absurd mod, but this is also based on Kaiserreich, so maybe it's equally absurd. Let's go with Purge Democratic Sympathizers. We should probably also just set up some army plans. I've organized the army so that we've got Heeresgruppe Ost, and we've got Heeresgruppe West. And the West group is now set up against the Rheinlich, or the Rhineland, inter-allied Rhineland here. Like the inter-allied occupied Rhineland, which was a thing, in a sense, but was mostly... I don't know, it sort of dipped down. Actually, I can recommend a great Great War episode. The Great War is a YouTube channel, which does... very easily digestible, like, history stuff. Started with the First World War and now is doing the interwar years, and it actually details the Allied occupation of, well, at least Alsace-Lothringen, or Alsace-Lorraine. And I believe there were talks about the like, wanting to occupy the Rhine and setting up, like, outposts on either side of the Rhine. Like, this stuff would have been probably French or, you know, whatever. French, British, or whatever, but yeah, there were talks about that, and I'm guessing they used those plans, like they used a lot of plans, literally, in this this world. Okay, power struggle in the Soviet Union. Lenin is... oh my... okay, so Lenin is dead. Lenin's wife, Nadezhda Krupskaya, presented a letter stating Kirov as his preferred heir. Oh, after his husband has died. Shlyapnikov, former leader of the All-Russian Metalworkers Union, opposed Kirov's, stating that the party has been flooded by bourgeois elements. Which one will prevail and become the new premier is uncertain. So we've got Sergei Kirov. I'm not quite sure who he is. I've heard of him before. But I must admit my Russian history in the period like 1925 or 23 or something to basically in 1940, I don't know, like to the start of World War II is like basically non-existent. My Russian history there is like it's a black void. See, we're not going to do any of these things. Maybe these guys, because they give us free factories, but not industrial renovation, because it gives us building slots, and we don't need that. We need more buildings. Yeah, the Valkist ideology, it is very Nazi or fascist. It is, as Roger Griffin, the scholar on fascism, whom I often refer to, says. He has a definition of fascism that is very short, but also kind of complicated, so it does need extra explanation, which also again makes it useless that it's short. But it says something along the lines of fascism is palingenetic right-wing ultranationalism, and most people are gonna be like, "What the fuck is palingenetic?" It just means like rebirth or like a phoenix rising from the ashes and shit like that. Like destroy everything, rebuild it, and though, you know, it doesn't always necessitate the destruction of everything, but it does have this idea of everything needs to be remade. And the Valkist ideology is very similar in that sense. Getting a bit loud, so I'm going to do my trademark wrestling with the volume control, which I always do. Eliminate Kurt von Schleicher or eliminate Herbert von Bose. Well, he was a chancellor in the Weimar Republic. If we approach the bureaucracy, we get less political power. Do we need political power right now? We could use some of these design companies and could use some of these boys, so maybe. And this will improve the relations opinion and improve the relations maintain cost. So let's see if there are any unique mechanics when it comes to inviting people to your alliance. I actually forget. I didn't read the thing where it says like these are the game rules, like in Führerreich, because I never read those. Probably should. Not aligned. Neither they nor we are at war. Kingdom of Italy is a major nation. Italian opinion of the Das Deutsches Reich. Is it Das Deutsches Reich or Das Deutsche Reich? I must admit I have not completed all of my Duolingo lessons. Fuck it, I think we're gonna go with Bose, because this might be able... we might be able to get rid of this. At some point. Hopefully. This is cool, but... Let's see, 5% division organization, 5% planning speed, 5% political power... political power, 100. Army experience gain 5%. Oh my god, that's actually really good. At the cost of 365 days of it being terrible. But this gives us political power and war support. And war support, I mean, we're probably going to be at like 100 war support at all times anyways. Shit, this is really good though. Ah, fuck, I might have wanted to go with that one, but we're going to go with Bose just because who cares about making friends, honestly. Oh yeah, we should probably help out Volantis Spain. Good point, commenters who pointed that out. See, how many can we send in terms of... also, this looks like very Red Army. How can we send... or how many can we send? If we can send any. We can send 2. Limited by their number of provinces, so we have enough armies to... or men to send. We should probably send a Panzer Corps. Just because they're... from my experience, they're the type of division that can make the most out of... you know, out of the least. Like, they can make the most impact without having a lot of men in there. So, let's send Mr. Manstein. Let's see. Always call him, or always almost call him Manfred von Manstein, but that doesn't make any sense. That's Manfred von Richthofen, the Red Baron. First Panzer Corps, where are you? There you are, Erich von Manstein. Send. Godspeed. Would be cool if we could send to multiple sides in the war. Successful negotiations in India. Huh. Since the beginning of the rebellion in December 35, the Indian rebels have shown, I think, not had shown, promise by taking the initiative in the fighting against British control over the subcontinent. While Britain has since shipped large quantities of troops to the region to crush the revolt, the rebellion has continued to live on. In an effort to bring an end to the instability in India, the British government has entered into peace negotiations with rebel leaders in India. Information that is leaked from these negotiations indicate that the British government has promised significant autonomy for India in the future, in what is a serious concession to the rebel side. Whether or not Britain follows through on this promise remains to be seen, so we still got Lord... holy shit, his name. Linlithgow? Linlithgow? I don't know. There's like... the arch-British names are horrible to pronounce. It's like Portuguese names I can't pronounce. Some Spanish ones like Ham or Jaime. I give up. And oh no. What is his last name? Are those even letters? Those are. That's like a fucking Orthodox Christianity cross there. That's not a letter. I refuse. If anyone knows how to pronounce that, please give me the phonetics in the comments, because I'd be very interested to see how that sounds. Yeah, I can pronounce some like Russian and Ukrainian stuff though. Not well, but it's one of the extreme like privileges of being from a Scandinavian nation. Or I mean, yeah, Scandinavian probably. Because you already speak one Scandinavian language, right? But the other ones are very close to the language you speak. So if you speak Norwegian, Danish is basically like the writing language is basically the same, almost, and or the written language. It's I mean across all borders it is, but and the spoken language is a bit tough. But once you get used to it, you then start to get more and more adept at listening to other people's languages. And you start to be able to speak Norwegian to someone, and they can speak Swedish to you, and you understand each other. At least most adults do. I'll say fuck it, no, I'm gonna strategically redeploy. For some reason, strategic redeployments without frontlines for me just never work. Like, I can't click this thing and make them actually, do it. I wish there was a manual way to do it. There probably is, and I'm just being stupid. Free civilian factories. We should probably keep... Actually, no, we should make military factories. I don't know when the war starts, as I said before, so... I'm guessing we probably get to choose when. Oh, also... yeah, we should probably go partial mobilization. Alright, so these are militia. Which means we should be able to kick their ass. Actually, I haven't looked at our tank divisions. I probably should have looked at them before I sent them over. They're not bad. They're actually pretty good. They're very small, but they're actually, honestly, the way I want them. Japanese spy arrested by British Admiralty. The British foreign officer just held a press conference to announce the arrest of a suspected Japanese spy at the British Admiralty. These are Japanese people arresting a non-Japanese man, probably American, accusing the Japanese government for causing aggression. That's a weird way of phrasing that. The Japanese government refused to comment on such accusations, claiming Japan has no intention to provoke outrage and damage the relations between the two close allies. Many world politic commenters. So I'm starting to sense that this was written by a non-native English speaker, because world politic commenters is not a way to say that makes sense. Security politics, like experts or something, you could say. But that's fine. That's honestly fine, because the person who wrote this, for not being a native English speaker, is doing a very good job. That this Anglo-Japanese diplomatic standoff is sure to remain for quite a while, and will definitely cause a rift between the two close former allies. How times have changed since the Great War. And we've got a strange interregnum. While touring Beijing today, Zhang... That's like Zhang, I think. Zhou, I'm not quite sure. The erstwhile leader of the Fengshan governancy was shot dead by Japanese loyalists under the banner of the Concordia Association. Beijing, which came to be part of the Fengshan only some short years ago, served as a shining example of China's commitment to both the past and future, as well as the de jure capital of the state itself. Most strangely, Zhou was in the capital that day discussing the warming of relations between the Fengshan government and the Empire of Japan. The touring of speeches, which had marked one of Zhou most salient actions while in power, had been considered by many to be one of the most important political events in China in the past few years. Whatever it was that international spectators hoped to gain from these words has now been lost forever, as China comes ever closer to all-out war. So we're looking at a possible then Japanese intervention. I'm guessing. Or like I'm guessing the Japanese loyalists here provoke the Chinese to some sort of response, and then the Japanese will intervene. Not an altogether unfamiliar situation. Or story. Political power gain and war support is good, at least getting that percentage political power gain early on so that it sort of carries on for a longer amount of time is good. Okay, so we've taken Bilbao. Now, question is, so we're taking the port cities just because they're good for the supply and stuff, but should we try for... Kingdom of Portugal declared war on the Portuguese Republic. Excuse me. Hello there, Alfonso Costa. Alright, well, let's get back to our war. I was about to say, should we do an encirclement? And yes, we should. Though it's gonna take a while. No, it's not. What the fuck? That was fast. Actually, hold on. You need organization, and he can easily get encircled, actually. Aid. This is so risky. Like, all he needs to do is move that unit there. And I would basically be encircled. Who are fighting here? This is the Republic, yeah. Republic in Spain. It's an interesting symbol there. Wonder what the story behind that is. Oh, never mind. Never mind, actually just retreat, dude. Not worth the loss of equipment. Let's see, let's assign one to each army. Also, I've forgotten to mention, but I think it was kind of obvious, but and the people who are probably upset that I didn't mention it already have probably already commented, but the Valkist ideology does pull deeply on like mythical or sort of historical symbols from ethnic myth. I would say I would call it that, maybe. Like they pull on like Norse and early Germanic symbology to reinforce their national myth, which is something the fascists did as well. So, like the Aryan myth, the Aryan people, that's like a national myth that they created. And the Valkists do the same thing with the Valknut, or however you want to pronounce that, Valnut. It is a knot, which in like old Germanic, I would say would be something like Knut. And Val, of course. So that's the symbol here, and they have a lot of like old symbols like that. I'm not quite sure if I can see anyone here, but yeah, they pull on like the symbology and the mythology of this of like Norse paganism and such. I just realized, why am I attacking this? Actually, no, I know why I'm attacking that tile. A, because I'm stupid, retreat again. And B, because attacking this tile I could only attack from one direction and I don't get the multiple direction bonus. But yeah, attacking this right now is not a good idea. I was hoping to just take this and then be able to push in like this and just hold at the river, or maybe push out towards Barcelona and stuff, but please retreat already. But now I think the best thing we can do is just use these fast divisions to opportunistically take factories and stuff for the phalangists. Let's see, tech-wise, we should probably go for... Okay, we can't go for electronics yet. In which case we should probably just go for what gives us a general bonus to pretty much everything, except for tanks, apparently. Of course, because these are infantry equipment. Is there anything that gives us tank bonuses? I don't think so. This actually will increase the fighting power of our tanks, because we do have artillery on them. Generally, I like to focus on the techs that are like this, where like these small boxes, because they give bonuses to existing equipment, so you don't actually need to ramp up production to actually take advantage of it. Similarly, these, really good. This stuff down here, amazing. Especially this stuff. 10% land night attack. That's huge if your enemy doesn't have it. Oh, also, we should probably do this. Ban political organizations. Because fuck democracy. Wait, can we? No, we probably... Actually, he's wounded. Maybe we can. I was thinking maybe we can try for an encirclement here. Nope, we can't. There's one over there. That'd be too risky, I think. Yeah, and he's moving now. Honestly, fuck you. Just beat him back and take back Pamplona. We're not necessarily here to win the war for them. We're only here to gain experience, so... We don't necessarily need to worry too much about strategic gains. It does help, though, but I think... if anyone's going to win this, it's going to be the Kingdom of Spain here, or Monarchist Spain. What we could do is try to maneuver over here and try to deal some blows to the Monarchists, just to make the war a bit more equal, so that they can wear each other down. How is the tank situation in France? 3 tank divisions that I can see. So they got 3 light tank divisions, which we might be oh, we need this stuff, but we might be it might be a good idea to get anti-tank guns, honestly. Just start the production of that, so we can assign that to certain specified or specific divisions that we want to use in order to, like, we want to use against the tanks. Historically, the way you fight a tank is not with other tanks. That's probably one of the worst ways you can do it. Because then you're wasting the actual fighting potential of the tank itself. The way you want to fight a tank is by, I mean, ambush obviously is the best way with anti-tank guns. Or you can also just literally make it unfeasible to use the tank in its preferred manner. Of course, you can't do that in Hydra 4 because Hydra 4 doesn't model battles on the tactical level, only on the strategic level, like up here. But honestly, the best way to fight a tank, just make it so that the tank can't do what it wants to do, so, which is encircle and, you know, cause breakthroughs and whatnot and so forth. Okay, retreat. We did what we wanted. We got the encirclement. And the best way to do that, by the way, like, fight a tank like that, obviously, is just tank traps, hedgerows that are, like, impassable by tanks, stuff like that. And of course, like, the hedgerows in Normandy during the invasion were hell for tanks for so many reasons. Obviously, you don't know if, like, a hedgerow also is like a huge dirt, you know, I guess, like, almost a wall. Like a mound. You don't know if that's that's what you're gonna meet, and also, you don't know what's hiding behind each hedgerow. So, there could be an anti-tank gun barrel just poking out of a hedgerow. So this is probably going to be the last thing I do before this episode ends. Maybe we should get, Oh cool, they've actually named all the different types of tanks here, that's cool. And you can tell the mod creators here, they like Germany. There we go. More guns, please. Because that's what we need to reinforce at the moment. More military factories. Let's queue up a synthetic refinery as well. Because we are Germany, and Germany always has a want for oil. Expand the Zuleschutztruppe. Modify the government. Also, if you have any sort of... we probably should have gotten that early. Still doesn't hurt to get it now. Some Krupp steel. If you have any sort of additions to what I said about the Falkist movement, what I said about anything, please put it in the comments. I'm always happy to learn. I'm always happy to be corrected if I'm wrong. Though, of course, make sure that your reasoning is sound and that you're not just saying, hey, stupid idiot, you're wrong. Also, let's see, we could probably actually look at the casualties of this war. No, it's one of those shitty civil wars where it's 3 different sides. I can't be fucked. Actually, hold on. Is it? Yes, it is. I can't collapse them and see the casualties of all, so I can't be asked. Anyways, with that, I want to thank you so much for watching, and before I go, I do want to shout out a couple of things. First of all, the Twitch channel that I've got running. I might be streaming a bit after this, so please come and check that out. Twitch channel link is in the description down below. My Twitch handle is just Fredda and then an underscore because Fredda was taken, which makes me upset. Also, Patreon, if you would like to support me financially, of course not necessary, but greatly appreciated. And Twitter, if you want to see my shitposts, and Discord, of course, if you want to actually communicate in a bit better way than the comments, and you want to have like back and forth conversations with me and the rest of the community. And that is about it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.